Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our thread talk for the month of April. I can't believe it's April already. I feel like this year has been flying through, and I am so excited. And I feel like every month things are just getting better and better. Like there's just great designs. We still have so many great designers coming up. We actually have some like brand new designers that probably nobody knows. So I'm so excited to introduce them to you in the next few months. Next month we have something exciting. We have a crochet along with me. But this month we have something super special, and it is Christina from A Spoonful of Yarn. I've admired Christina for so long. She has this ability to kind of tell stories through her garments that are not overly like dramatic, if that makes sense for a garment. They're just wearable and beautiful and yet super fun. And I am just in love with her design migrations from this month. So today we're going to talk to her about her life, her career, her design process, and I'm so excited to get to know her better. So I'm just going to bring her in. And hello. Welcome,
Good
Christina.
morning.
How are you?
Yes, great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. You guys, for anyone who's watching live at the moment, please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. Feel free to ask questions and we'll do our best to answer them. And if you guys are watching the replay, then thank you for watching. So, Christina, I would love to start with a day in your life. What is it like? Do you live with your family? Do you have a husband? Do you have kids? I'm not really sure what's going on in your personal life. So tell us about what
Um,
a day is like.
okay, so like a regular day, if it's a work day, I get up at 7 and I get dressed. I wake up Dan. He is 3 years old, our son, and my husband's then already away at work at the office. I bring him to what would be the equivalent? I think
Nursery?
kindergarten, I think,
Okay.
like a preschool kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and which is very close by because we live in a suburban area, and just a 5 minutes walk is his school, so that's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I drink my coffee, I do my journaling, which I love, just doing a few pages every day. And then at about 9, I get to work, like desk work, so doing things for Christina Crochet Coach mainly, like getting a new program out, recording audios, but also doing like pattern editing or pattern writing or editing photos or creating charts, all of that desk
Yeah.
work. And I do that for until 12, and then I pick up Dan because then he's free from school, and then we spend the afternoon together. So that's like my day. And then in the evening, usually I do my crochet work, um, with my favorite TV show in the background, listening and crocheting.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think it's funny how you say that you spend so much time doing computer work, and I feel like people assume that we just sit here and crochet all our time when
No,
we are
I wish.
designers. I know, right? That's awesome. And how about, do you have any hobbies? Anything that's not crochet related that you like to do?
Yeah, I think a lot of crafters can relate that when you fall into that crafting rabbit hole, then
Yeah.
it might start with crochet, but then it's also like knitting and embroidery and needle felting and spinning and dyeing your own yarn. And so I've tried all of those things.
Have
But
any
some,
of them stuck?
yeah, so some things stick and some things are like, okay, so this was fun for one project, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
I actually got a whole degree in a garment, what's it called, like
Okay.
sewing and designing and creating your own garments to fit.
Oh,
I actually
wow.
don't know what the word is in English, but doesn't matter. So I did that for a long while as well. I did quilting. What I personally at the moment really like to do, because it does not have anything to do with crochet, because I do this full time, so
Mm-hmm.
it's also my work. So I like to do things that have nothing to do with crochet at all, and that's watercolor.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
because it's so flowy, so free, and so quick as well.
Uh-huh.
You know, crochet takes a long time. It's a very slow craft, but I can come up with an idea for a watercolor and then just do it in an afternoon and then be done with it, you know, and that's,
Yeah.
I feel that's because it's so different from crochet. I really like that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that about sewing. I love making garments, but
Mm,
sometimes with sewing, it's like, yeah, it might take 2 nights to prepare all the pattern pieces and then
yeah,
sew them, but then
yeah,
you're done, right? It's
yeah,
so nice.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of prep work in sewing. Yeah,
I know sometimes the prep work is what stops you from just actually doing it.
yeah,
Like that's how I feel at the moment. I'm like in the
yeah,
between projects and I just cannot be asked to cut pattern pieces.
yeah, 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 yeah. And you need a lot of space as well.
Yeah, you do. That is true. Talking about space, what is your workspace like? Do you have your office in your house, or are you one of
Yeah,
those that
like
living room, dining room?
this is my office, so I have a whole crafting room to myself. Fortunately, very
Ooh.
lucky to have, I know, but it's also like when people come over, there's also a bed and there's also laundry, so it's not like very romantic, clean,
Yeah.
crafting space. But it is where I do my desk work and crochet. I just do on the couch because that's most comfortable, you know.
Yeah. So cool. So tell us a little bit about your crochet journey then. Who taught you to crochet, and how did you get to where you are in the way of level? Like, how
Yeah,
did you get there?
so I started I think I started with crochet in 2010 or 2011.
Okay.
My sister-in-law, she's deceased in 2015, but she actually inspired me to pick up crochet because she was a crochet designer at the time and she was making
Oh
such
wow.
beautiful things. She had a blog, a creative being was her blog, and she made these very colorful mandalas, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
But she had like this finishing technique with the needle join that made all of the rounds so seamless, and it was just so mesmerizing because you really get sucked in by the color. and
Yeah.
and I so loved that she made such happy things, and I was like, oh my god, I want to do that as well. So she actually inspired me to pick up crochet and actually inspired me to start a blog as well in
Yeah.
2014. And well, at the beginning it was like I didn't know what I liked most, so I was combining crochet and knitting and sewing as well. But then I
Mm-hmm.
discovered that I really loved crochet the most, that it came most natural to me. It was like making sense in my head,
Yeah.
like, okay. And I could never really follow a pattern. I was so stubborn, you know. I was like, okay, I really want to make this, and then I would buy a pattern to follow, but then I would always alter because I was like, well, this is starting to get boring, or I really want it to look like this, you know. So that's I think the whole reason why I started with crochet design myself, because I just could not help myself, you know, altering the pattern. And I was always having something in my head, like a shawl or something I wanted to make, but I could never find the exact thing, you know. So I was like, okay, maybe I should just make it myself.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So is that when you turned it into work, or was it more of a process, like you started making things and then you thought about it, or did you like make the
Yeah,
decision?
it was quite a natural process because I started with free patterns, just posting
Okay.
them on my blog, not having them tested. It was not professional, you know, it was just a hobby. It was
Mm-hmm.
more on the level of, let me see if I can turn this idea into a crochet item and then share the pattern because I've already written it down, you know, on that level. But then everything changed when I created the Hotel of Bichot, which is behind me. Like, this was my big breakthrough crochet design. Almost 10,000 patterns sold, you know,
Wow.
and this was what really took off my crochet design career, and what also brought me like the idea of I can do so much better than I was doing before, you know, not having the patterns tested. just creating things for the sake of, I need a basket, so let me crochet a basket, instead of just doing what I was pulled towards. I was
Mm-hmm.
not allowing myself that space of just playing with crochet. I always needed to have a practical element. So I
Okay.
would only allow myself to create something when I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I created a jacket because I needed a jacket, not because I wanted to create something pretty.
Yeah.
So now I can simply allow myself to create shawls, not because I need another shawl, but because shawls are fun for me to create, and because
Yeah.
I have so many ideas to execute.
That
So
is super cool.
yeah, so it was quite a journey, but really very natural, a very
Mm-hmm.
natural transgression.
Yeah, I love it. And I knew you through your Hotel of Bees. The first time
Yeah.
I saw it, I was in shock. I was like, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful!" And that's how I started following you on Instagram. And I think that's probably what a lot of people started coming
Yeah,
to you
yeah,
from.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's so cool. And I know you make a lot of shows. Is that your favorite kind of thing to make, or do you have a specific thing that you prefer to make, but you prefer to design shows? Like, tell us.
Shawls are what's most natural for me to create because
Mm-hmm.
they don't take a lot of math.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the shawls that I create, I can simply start with 3 stitches and then increase along one side and then see where the design takes me. And I love that intuitive way, intuitive approach into design.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't always like this because I also like to create garments like sweaters and cardigans, but they are really math based, as you know. I have Excel sheets full with grading and but
Yeah.
at the time when I did that, I really loved that math based approach because it gives you a bit more direction.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Hotel Visual is also quite math based because it starts at the longer side and then it decreases. So you
Ah.
have to really know how to start out, and it takes math
Mm-hmm.
to figure that out. But at the moment, I really love that more intuitive approach. Like, okay, I know which stitches and techniques I want to incorporate, so let's just start and see where we end up.
Okay.
So
I really
it's
like
quite
that.
different. It's also
Yeah.
because, and a lot of people that follow me already know, I got into quite a heavy burnout where I could not even like function just a day to day.
Really.
Yeah, so like lying in bed all day. And so it's still that was like 3 years ago, but it still has an effect on my brain function. So it's actually easier now for me to just go with that creative flow instead of focusing so much on the math.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just
Oh,
do what's easy for me.
yeah. Well, of course. I keep telling people you have to do what brings you joy. Like if
Yeah,
even if it's a job, like anything I do in my life, I try to make sure that it brings me joy. And if there's a moment where it doesn't, then something needs to change, right?
right,
Something needs to be adapted. So I
right.
really respect you for doing that. That's super cool. And I feel like what you were saying about having to think too much before the process, when I started designing, that's what I would do. I would just kind of go with it, and then you start thinking about shaping and you start thinking about all these other things, and it almost kind of gets in the way of the
Yeah.
fun. So I totally respect that, and I'm a little bit jealous. That's really cool. And so yes, how about a spoonful of yarn? Why? Where did that name come from? I love it, by the way.
Oh, that's like a very boring and uninspiring story. At the
Then
time,
kind.
it was, you have to think back like 2014, the
Hmm.
cupcakes were a thing. Do
Yes.
you remember like the
Yes.
cupcakes with the frosting, and everyone would start creating cupcakes in all of these
Yeah.
elaborate things? So I was like, okay, so a lot of new blogs were popping up around baking, and so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so can I combine crochet or things with yarn and baking? So I just started to brainstorm, and I was like, okay, a spoonful of yarn, why not? My very first blog post describes something like a spoonful of yarn a day keeps the doctor away, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, but there's not nothing more to that than.
I love it though. That's brilliant. I honestly thought you were just like a huge fan of Mary Poppins or something like
Oh
that. And you
no,
know that song about the spoonful of medicine, and I was like,
no,
maybe.
no.
I like the cupcake, so that's very clever.
Yeah.
And so you said that you studied garment design for
Yeah.
sewing. So is this like the fashion world and garment creation? Is this kind of where you wanted your career to go always, or did you just kind of fall into it?
Well, that's really funny that you ask, because I actually did study in fashion and
Mm-hmm.
in entrepreneurial, like starting your own store, or
Mm-hmm.
garment design, fashion design. I did a 3 year what's it called, like not training
Degree?
but degree, but like a lower degree, not like university
Mm-hmm.
but college,
Yeah,
or yeah.
a 3 year degree would be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So that's what I started off with, and but I did not get anywhere, like in terms of career. So
Mm-hmm.
it would not land, that degree did not land me any jobs. So what I did instead, I was like, well, I really love to get creative with just sewing, creating garments. So I did, like, this was kind of like a hobby, like you get your exams, you do your exams, but it was very low key. So once a week I would sit
Okay.
at a table with like all these other ladies, usually middle aged, and I would start learning about creating my own garments, really drawing them to your size, like
Yeah.
tailored fit, creating all of these skirts and dresses and blouses, and all of these finishes. I still have all of my sewing work stored away. Um, but so I really had like this vision of becoming a designer. I was
Mm-hmm.
following all of those um, documentaries about Coco Chanel and Karl
Okay.
Lagerfeld, and I was so inspired by how these people created, and what it took to create a garment, very detailed, very high level. And so when I started with crochet, because it has like this crafty, people don't view it as art, they just view it as a craft, lower
Yeah.
level, lower skilled, or I don't know, but there's like this stigma around crochet. um but then one day it dawned on me, especially after the release of the Hotel of Visual, I'm actually a designer. I actually got where I wanted to be, but
Yeah.
so different than how I envisioned it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's so cool how you kind of had an idea, and even though your path took you a roundabout way, you
Yeah.
ended up in kind of the same thing that you wanted to do. That's
Yeah.
super cool. And I want to talk about your inspiration because the Hotel of Bees, and I think you have quite a few other things that are based in
Mhm.
books and influenced
Yeah.
by books. Is that kind of what inspires you a lot? And is it the characters? Is it the imagery? Is it the place that the story is set? Like, what exactly do you think about when you're reading a book and you imagine a garment? Because that's super cool.
Yeah, so it all started with All the Light We Cannot See from Anthony Doerr, which
Hmm.
inspired the Hotel of Visual and so many other designs, because the imagery in the book is so vivid, so multi-layered. Like, he has this tendency to zoom in like on the very minor details and then zoom out, like go ages, centuries back, like the full picture. And that's so magical and such a great skill. And I was reading it and I was like, oh my god, I have so many design ideas on this book alone. So it's for that book, it's the imagery. Um but I also read other books that have very interesting characters, and I was like,
Hmm.
okay, so if I would turn this character in a crochet stitch, how would that stitch look? Because some
I
people
love
are.
that.
So, for example, I've read a book a few months back. It's called All the Colors of the Dark. Like, amazing book, by the way. But all these characters are so lively, so vivid, and so one girl is this like feet in the mud, always outside, playing with bees, but also very. Um, she has a very set sense of justice. So I was like, okay, so if I would turn it in Stitch, I would incorporate bees, but I would also incorporate like double crochet because it's a very clean stitch. And if I think about justice, I think about being simple and straightforward. And so that's like,
Mm-hmm.
I really try to just write down keywords of, okay, so what are the keywords, the things that I really think about when I read this book, when I see the imagery before me, and then I just translate it into stitches, simple shapes, or just the
I love
essence
that.
of someone. Yeah, so I really love to play with that, but some things take years to develop just because I don't know how to progress. I mean, I did full blankets. Oh, let me just show you because I think
Yes, please. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Wow. I love the
blanket I
colors.
did four scheepjes, as a crochet along, and well, it's quite a big blanket. It's inspired by the museum that's also in All the Light We Cannot See. And I take the crocheter with me through all of the departments of the museum.
That's
Um,
so cool.
but to get there, to create a design with, I mean, I think I've incorporated like 30 stitches or so, and it goes from a circle to a square to an octagon to a circle to a square, so that's a lot of transitions. It took me years to create, simply because sometimes I don't know how to progress with a design, which is okay. Sometimes we just need to put it in a corner and just work on something else, because that's also, I think, the thing that a lot of designers or beginning designers, they forget that they only see the end results. They don't
Yeah.
see the work, all of the hours. Sometimes we get stuck and we need
Hmm.
some time away to figure out what the next step will be. So yeah, so that's like my process.
I love that. I think that's so cool because I feel like your approach to crochet design is so much more artistic than most, especially than me. Like, I'm much more of a utilitarian person. Like, I want to wear this, I want to have this, so I will make it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't really make pretty things just for the sake of pretty things, you know? But I love that you've put all of these thoughts into your creations, and they are telling a story, and they are like just bringing art to life and bringing books to life. And I think that is so cool. I love that about you. And is there anything else that influences your designs other than books?
Yeah, nature is like the other big thing. I mean, nature in itself is so magical. Everything is perfect but messy, but
Mm-hmm.
everything is like it should be. You can look really up close into a leaf and see a very different thing than when you would take a few steps back. Nature evolves, it transitions, and we are part of nature as well. And I just feel like I wasn't always like this, by the way. I was um very intelligence focused, like on a brain level, but I've transitioned more into like being more part of my environment. So I'm much more I notice things more around me. I was always so go go go, so focused on the to-dos, focused on the next
Mm-hmm.
task, but I would completely forget my surroundings. So I'm much more focused on being more in the moment, also really seeing my surroundings. And it brings me so much inspiration. I mean, we have this garden, it's not really big, but we have nasturtium, like these very bright orange flowers with green
Mm-hmm.
around leaves, and they are so inspiring. They bloom like from June to October, or maybe even November, and it's so vivid and so bright, and I'm like, oh my god, I just love the feeling that this is giving me, like so much abundance in nature, and how can I translate that into a crochet design? So
Yeah.
that's like always the question in the back of my head when I see something. I'm like, okay, so how would I translate that into a crochet design?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so cool. Now, I have an idea of what your answer is going to be to to this next question, but I still want to know, what's your favorite part of your job as a designer?
Oh, that's actually quite okay. So it might be two things. So first, it's actually being creative, because I need
Mm-hmm.
that. You know, it's not a nice to have, but need to have in my life. I just need to be creative, otherwise I'm just withering away. You know, it's just the truth. And secondly, I also love to inspire others to look closer to their surroundings,
Okay.
to really notice what is around them, which is so magical. Because I also do, like, I do this challenge for crochet designers, you know, to create their unique crochet design style. And part of it is actually taking more note of your surroundings. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually, one of the assignments is to go for a walk just to get inspiration, you know. And they then comment, or they emailed me back. They're like, whoa, I saw things I never noticed before, you know. And that's so magical to also share some of that magic of what's actually around us, you know.
Yeah. I love that. It's like so much more than just creating a garment, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
inspiring people and connecting them to other
yeah,
to each
yeah,
other and to nature. I
yeah.
love that.
And it's
Now let's
actually, oh,
yeah.
sorry.
No, tell me.
Yeah, so nature and nature conservation is actually one of my key things around my business. And so I love to inspire others to actually take care of nature better. And
Mm-hmm.
doing so just by being more aware of your surroundings makes it more precious. And so a lot of my designs are also nature inspired, such as the migration shawl,
Mm-hmm.
but also the Hotel of Bee shawl, the History of Tree shawl. My latest design, the Overstory, is also around trees, you know. And so I also make it a point, some of the designs, the pattern sales, actually 10% is going to nature conservation, because it is simply so important for me, not to toot my own horn, but just to illustrate that really it is important to me
Yeah.
to try to be a good host to this earth.
Yeah. Well, it's like you put your money where your mouth is, like they
Right.
say, like you take this seriously and it's something important, and that's
Yeah.
great. And it shows. It shows in your work. Now, let's talk a little bit more on the negative side then. If you could choose one duty from your schedule that you could eliminate, which one would it be? It could be anything from like daily work schedule.
Oh, I have so many. But
All right, tell us all then.
okay, so but the biggest one that comes to mind right away is social media. And not because I don't like to share and to talk with people about our passion, but
Mhm.
because it is rather draining to post and post and post and not get anything back in return. It's a very unnatural way
It's
to
weird.
to communicate with other people. So I
Mhm.
really try to make it more of a point to be more present on my podcast, in my Facebook group, on email. Like, okay, so let's just share a few things and have that one-on-one conversation instead of just screaming into the void, because that really is what social media feels like to me. You know, everyone's just
Yeah.
screaming like, look at me, look at me, look at my design,
Yeah.
please comment, please share, you know. But it that really feels so unnatural to me. So I really try to make it a point to be more present in the spaces that do feel more natural, and I'm still trying to find my way.
Yeah, but you're so good. I've been so impressed with you, like, working with you through Flyful. Like, you're so good at having your schedule and doing your posts and do you think it helps to kind of sit down and plan it ahead of time, or are you more of
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
spontaneous
Yeah.
poster?
No, sometimes it's like I'm lying in bed at night. I don't know about you, but usually I have like this involuntary brainstorm session at
Yeah.
night. With all the things, I still, oh yeah, oh that's a good idea as well. So then I just add that. But usually I do have a plan. Like, okay, so then this post is for that date, and then this post is for that date. I actually use project management software, so I have all of these separate projects because I essentially run two businesses. So I really need to you know have order in that chaos. So I have all of these projects with all of the separate to-dos, with all of the deadlines. So otherwise, I just could not
Yeah, yeah. No,
not
I do the same.
organize.
That's the only way I survive,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, because you are like that as well, right? I mean, you design for yourself, but you also have playful. So you really need to, if you want to stay on top of that, you really need to have order. And yeah.
Yeah. And do you ever have this like secret list that doesn't make it to your official list of things that you would like to do that you never
Yeah,
actually get to do?
yeah. I have like I have whenever I come up with new ideas, it just goes on a list. And
Yeah.
yeah, whenever I get to that, or maybe never,
Yeah.
but
That my list just keeps growing and
yeah.
I've never gotten to actually look at it at all.
Uh,
That's so funny. So now let's talk about your perfect day then. What three things you need to have for your perfect day to happen? And anything you can ask for anything. What could it be?
yeah, so it's waking up without an alarm. So
Ooh.
it doesn't have to be like at 11 or so. I could not even do that, I think, anymore.
I know, right? It's weird
uh,
being a mom.
yeah, yeah. But just waking up naturally and then just starting my day however I want. It has at least something creative, so like watercolor, or I also like to do paint by numbers, because then I just have to
Oh,
follow the numbers and not
yeah.
think about anything. And then also crochet with like an inspiring movie, like the Studio Ghibli movies. I always find so inspirational. um, or just my favorite show at the moment. In the Netherlands, we have like this show where it's called like bed and breakfast with love. So there are bed and breakfast owners, and then there are 4 or 5 men or women that all visit that bed and breakfast, and then they
Uh-huh.
see if they are a good fit for each other. And there's like 6 seasons with so many episodes, so I'm just always watching that and then just crocheting, and
I
uh,
think Dutch reality TV is something that I would really like to
yeah,
watch. That's awesome. That's
yeah.
really cool. That sounds like a great day. Food? Are you a foodie?
Uh,
Or
just chocolate, I think, and something cheesy.
something cheesy? I like that. I like that. That sounds awesome. Now, another hypothetical question. If you
Yeah.
could acquire a new skill in an instant, like literally it could be anything in the whole wide world, what would you choose to learn?
Ooh, the first thing that comes to mind is a language,
Okay.
but I actually don't know why.
To talk to all
So
of your Chinese friends or something,
yeah.
why not?
But maybe that's because I've been reading Shogun, like the novel,
Mhm.
and it's set in Japan. And I've been such a Japan fanatic in my teens, watching all the anime, reading all the manga, learning Japanese. But Japanese is in itself not a really complicated language, but it's so different
It's
from,
so different, isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
So the words are so different. So yeah, maybe that just for fun.
Just for fun. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. I've asked this question a few times and I can never figure it out for myself. It's like there's just so many things I want to
I
learn how
know.
to do. The first one that comes to mind literally is being like an expert at karate, which I don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
Hmm.
I respect your languages. Um, So tell us another businessy thing. What was
Yeah.
the biggest lesson so far that you have learned since you started designing?
Oh.
And since you started this as a business as well, if you want to
Mhm.
think about it business like
Yeah.
or design
Okay.
wise.
So, the biggest lesson that I've learned so far, especially in doing it full time, is that, and I'm still learning this, by the way, it's like an ongoing lesson, is that my inherent worth is not tied to what I do, or the sales that I'm getting, or the comments, or the likes, or whatever, or what I do or don't do during the day. That's like,
That's deep,
I
Christina.
know.
That is some like truth right there. I
Yeah,
love it.
and it's something I'm still learning, because
Yeah.
it's like something I struggle with my whole life. Like, I always felt the pressure to do, and
Hmm.
if I wasn't doing, I was lazy, or I was not worth it. So that's like something that I'm still learning, and I think I need to learn that every day again. That whatever I do or don't do, it has nothing to say about my worth as a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that affects women more than men? Like that feeling of like needing to have reassurance from the outside? Or
I
do you
don't
think
know. I
that's just
think
like a human
uh,
being
when
issue?
we go really deep, I mean, girls are brought up to be like more pleasing to others, like being nice, and doing things outside of what you would like to do also has to do with pleasing, but personally, I've been called lazy a lot of times, by my parents, like, get off the couch, don't be lazy, and it's like this small thing, but you have to unlearn that stuff when you become an adult, knowing that whenever I feel the need to rest, I can actually follow that need.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's hard. It's hard.
I
Like
know.
the at the weekend on Sunday, we had been doing stuff and we did lots of stuff on Saturday and Sunday. I was just like, it's sunny out. I just want to read. And I did not pick up a crochet hook. I didn't do anything productive. I don't think I even checked my email. But it felt so wrong in a way. Like it felt like if the world knew, they would judge me for this. You know what I mean? And it's so silly to be able to just like take a break and
Yeah,
not feel bad about it.
yeah. It's like a lot of people struggle with that. I mean, I also, as you might know, do the crochet design coaching, and a lot of
Hmm.
crochet designers, they say like they feel such a pressure to perform,
Mm,
and even feel guilty about what they do achieve. Yeah, it's like, but it's very valuable to actually be aware of that, you actually have that belief about yourself that you are not worthy of taking a break, of following your needs. So because of what we are not aware of, we cannot actually change.
yeah.
And something that personally really helped me, if we can go even deeper, is to view myself as a child, because we all have that inner child still within us. And it's
Hmm.
so easy to be hard on ourselves as adults, because so many people outside of us have been hard on us, previously. But it's much easier to, when you can view yourself still as that child, to give yourself that break. Because who are you to say to a 5-year-old, no, you don't deserve that? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I really try to. I actually have my 5-year-old self standing here on the desk, a photo, just to be a little, to view myself still as that 5-year-old girl, and just to say, yeah, you deserve that break, no matter what you did or didn't already do.
Yeah. I love that. That is such a lesson, and I will remember this moment in the future. And that you've mentioned your coaching program. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that business entails and how it works?
Yeah. So when I was thinking about doing it full time, the crochet design business, I was like, okay, so the biggest road into creative burnout for me is if I would need to produce crochet pattern after crochet pattern.
Mm-hmm.
That just does not work for me. So I really want something that I can combine it with. And I love to teach others. I love to help others. And I love to just share that magic of ins- turning an idea into something tangible. I mean, how magical is that skill, to come up with an idea and then turn it into stitches. And so that's how Christina Crochet Coach was born. I teach beginner crochet designers. I have this process that makes crochet design easier to understand, because a lot of new crochet designers, they get tripped up with all of the, turning those centimeters into stitches, translating it into actual crochet. So I have something for beginners, and this year I also started with something for crochet designers who really want to design better. So not more, but better. So really tap into their own creative genius. And I've just started the program, and it's like magical, because everyone can tap into that magic.
Mm-hmm.
But some, they are like, well, I just don't know how. So these are the designers that now join the program already make sales, but they want more,
Yeah.
they know they can achieve more. And so that's what I'm focusing on right now, which is so fun, to co-create it with them, because they just tell me like, okay, so this is what I'm struggling with most, and then I create the program around that, so
Mm-hmm.
that's very fun. And also, like, the challenge I already talked about, like finding your unique style, because um you also have like a very recognizable style, but some designers don't, some in their photography or in what yarns or colors they use, it's all over the place, which is
Mm-hmm.
okay. But when you want to grow your business, you want to create recognizable pieces that the crochet fans know come from you, then it's also more likely that they will buy from you again and again. And it's this loyal customer base that really is the foundation for your business.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love to be a witness of how other designers create their style, and just so fun. And I've created this whole style guide with the help of so many great names like Janie Crow and Deidre Ice and so many others, and just did a style analysis of their style, and it was just so fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Have you been doing it for a while, the coaching?
I started in September 2023. That's also
Mm-hmm.
when I started doing the whole full-time work. Before that, I was doing crochet design part-time, and I was working as a debt counselor.
Okay.
Uh, but that is what really led me into the burnout in the first place. So I just could not do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good for you for, making choices and changing your life. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes we feel like we're stuck in this life that the world, the universe has put us
Mhm.
in, but like we actually have quite a lot of independence and autonomy, and we can change
Yeah.
a lot of things in our lives, and
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
should.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also like very lucky because my husband works as well, and
Mm-hmm.
uh it pays, the bills are already covered, let me put it like that. So I don't have that financial pressure
Mm-hmm.
to really provide. But of course, yes, I want to um make money. With
Yeah.
what I do.
Get paid, baby.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I feel like people are sometimes embarrassed by the idea, or like, you
Mm.
should be shamed for like charging for your work. But
Mhm.
it's like it's the basics of humanity, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
we
right.
work and we put an effort, and like we should be rewarded for our
Yes,
efforts,
of
and we should
course.
be able to
Yeah.
make a living by
Yeah.
sharing our skills. And like not everything can be free, and I
Oh,
think it's so cool that you're making it happen and you're helping others do it too.
yeah. Very fun.
That's so cool. So we're getting to the end, but I really want to talk a little bit more about migration. So you said it's about this book and it's mostly about a journey, right? So can you tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the inspiration behind it and your favorite parts, please?
Yes. So the migration shawl, I have it here, but
I
the
love it.
migration
The
shawl.
colors are great too. I really like how you went from that light kind of greenish blue into that other blue, and like in the middle they kind of mix in such a
Yeah,
cool
it's a
way.
it's like you create a third color just by blending the two. It's very fun technique, and I've used it for so many shows already, and it still works.
It still works. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So the show is inspired by Migrations by Charlotte McConney. I still don't know if it's McConney he or McConney you or well. Um, it's a story about a woman. She's really struggling with life, and at the start of the story we actually don't know, and I'm not going to reveal anything in case anyone wants to read the book. But she's really struggling with life, and she is following or trying to follow the Great Migration from the Arctic terns. They go, I think they go, if I remember correctly, they go from the South Pole to the North Pole, which is
Hmm.
like a huge journey to go on, and a lot of turns they don't make it, and she tries to follow for the last time their migration. Um, it's like a very heavy book, so I really loved the storytelling, but it was also there are some very heavy themes within the book, so
Hmm.
I could only read like a few pages and then I needed to go back to something else. But it really touched me, and for the long time, sometimes you just have like this idea, but you don't know how to execute it. So it's actually been years since I read this book. I think it was during COVID that I actually read it. Um, but I envisioned like, okay, so how would that translate into a shawl? And I started getting like this feather shapes. Of course, I mean birds. You can of course do like a V shape with birds. So I started brainstorming, and I also love to do it in sections. So I have created 3 sections. The first is a ripple stitch section, which is quite easy. We start off with flow, the flow of air, the flow of water. Then we transition into the feathers, which the testers said was a bit more intermediate to advanced, because you create the feathers with front post trebles and front post treble 2 together, which is what the masterclass will also be about. So you can make them nice looking, and also a lot of people get tripped up when they read like, oh god, overlay crochet. Yeah. They're like, oh, I don't know, or trebles in general or clusters. So we are going to make that really simple. And then the third section is filet crochet, which is really simple again, because I love to mix it up, mix several techniques. We do something light and then we do something hard, and then we can breathe again and do something that's easy again, So I always like to not only create something that is gorgeous to see, but also fun to create, because I myself, I'm really easily bored.
Hmm.
And instead of judging that, I've just fully embraced that. So I just do sections of different things. I could not for the life of me create a blanket in rose that's only using one technique. I just cannot do it. So,
I
so
love
yeah,
that.
so that's the story behind it, and yeah, I just love to tell that story. So the last section actually has like this. Let me see if I can like a wave, like water or like flight. You
Yeah.
can. It's kind of abstract, so you can just see whatever you want to see in that.
But I just think it's so cool. Like some of my favorite books are the ones that are you go through a journey, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
like a physical journey. You go from one place to another.
Yeah,
And that's kind of how it feels, through your shawl. It's like you
yeah,
kind of move through these steps, and like
yeah.
you tell the story as you go. And I think that's just magical that you've managed to do that with a crochet piece, and it's so cool, and I'm so glad you have it with us. Now tell us a little bit about what you're reading now. I would really love to know what you're reading at the moment.
Yeah, so what I'm reading now is really different. It's Shogun. I'm actually rereading it because I already read it like, I don't know, a long time ago. But it's like a book that's this thick on biblical paper, like, and the pages, all the margins are full with
Oh my
words
god.
in it. So it's like a huge epic novel, but it's
Uh-huh.
set in I think 1600s Japan. So the
I
time
watched the
of the
show.
Oh, really? Oh, I actually haven't. So, because they're like these gruesome scenes, I don't think I want to see them on screen.
It is
Um,
quite bloody, but I bet it's
yeah,
told really
right.
well.
Yeah. So, 1600s Japan, the time of the samurai. Emperors weren't a thing back then. The time of, Feocei, like the golden ages, exploring new countries, that time. And it's just such a, a lot of things, like the political things, they go all over my head. But I accepted that. I was like, okay, so I'm not even actually sure what they're on about, but I'm just going to read it and then going to the parts that I actually understand, because there's like way too many characters and way too many political strategies, and it
Yeah.
just goes over my head, and I'm totally okay with that. But I enjoyed the book immensely, just for the rich storytelling and all of the characters and the character development, and yeah, it's just a fun book.
Yeah, that's so cool. Now I want to read it. That's awesome. Well, it's time to say goodbye, Christina. I've had so much fun talking to you. You're such an interesting person, and I love that you are so much more than just a pretty face. Like, you have great
Ah,
deep thoughts, and your creative process is so meaningful and really what's the word? Like, you think it through. It's not just like something that comes out of nowhere. Like,
yeah,
and I love that. I think having meaning to your work is so important, and sometimes we forget that giving meaning to our lives isn't just about going through the motions. It's actually putting that meaning into it,
yeah, yeah, of
and I
course.
think you do that in your personal life, and you do that in your work, and I am so honored to be a part of your world this month. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh,
um,
thank you.
is there anything else going on in your life that you'd like to tell us? Any future plans or projects or any news?
Yeah, so I'm doing like a major collaboration, so I cannot tell anything, how it goes with secrecy and contracts and things like that. But it's fun to say, because when we talk about the creative process, I actually don't know how to progress, and there's a deadline. Very fun.
Yeah, deadlines can ruin creativity. Like,
Yeah,
oh my god, so
but
badly.
I'm very communicative about that.
Hmm.
So I'm actually saying to the collaborator, like, I actually don't know how to go forward with this. I know there's a deadline. I know I'm going to hit that deadline, but I don't have a lot to show right now. But that's like part of my process. I need to then just do something completely else, because I just started mosaic crochet. I actually
Ooh.
never done mosaic crochet, and I'm
Woohoo!
like, oh, that's so interesting how
It's
that
so
works.
much
So
fun, isn't it?
I might do a mosaic crochet project next. Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait. So, if people wanted to get news from you, do you think Instagram is the best way to be in touch, or do you have a newsletter that people can sign up to?
I have a blog, just a spoonfulofyarn .nl or .com, either will work, and you can just sign up for the newsletter, and then you will get the news the first before anyone else. Because,
That's
like I said
wonderful.
before, social media isn't my thing, so I really try to post there as well. But yeah, the
That's
book.
excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and thank you so much,
Yes, thank
Christina, for
you.
coming. I am so excited for your masterclass next Friday, all about
Yes,
overlay crochet and long stitches. And this video is going to be up on the website hopefully by Monday. I will do my best, and then masterclass on Friday. So thank you so much for coming. I'll see you next time, Christina.
Yes, thank you. Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.